a whole article that you write about how this was a complete flop just shows how big of a threat the Diamond League potentially views Grand Slam track to be. And USC is giving out their case for why they are the new sprint university. To be in the top 20 in the men's 100, you have to run a 10.16. Tennessee is third with 2 athletes. LSU is second with 3 athletes. USC has 6. We've seen multiple people, many a times, that have had the hype, the excitement, the notoriety behind their name when they're 16, 17 years old, that are only thrown to the side as they become senior level athletes and they are forgotten in the wind. Welcome back. Another episode of Track World News Podcast. I'm your host, Colin Waitsman. Today, just a solo episode today. Unfortunately, Noah wasn't able to make it, but we will have an excellent episode for you all. Not as much crazy stuff going on in the track world. We had a few standout performances and a few things that we want to cover. So hopefully you all are enjoying the start of the season, because this season has been absolutely insane with what we've gotten into. So let's get right into things. We are going to go to the University of South Carolina and their complete dominance that they have had over the course of the last few months when it comes to track and field. So USC is giving out their case for why they are the new sprint university. Let me just give you a few stats right now as to what's going on. So currently, to be in the top 20 in the men's 100, you have to run a 10.16. And that is an extraordinarily fast time. Not a lot of people, obviously, can do that. So right now, Tennessee is third with 2 athletes that are currently in that top 20. LSU is second with 3 athletes that have currently ran 10.16 or lower. USC has 6 athletes that have gone 10.16 or lower, and it just continues to dominate. This is unheard of. They're on a completely different trajectory than every other school at this point, and it's starting to get pretty scary. Let me just riddle off some of these things that happened at the Texas A&M meet just this past weekend. So we had Taylor Banks run a 10.15, JC Stevens 10.13, Travis Williams 10.07, Eddie Nketia 9.96, Garrett Kaalund 9.93, and then Max Thomas 9.92. Those are just incredibly times to be running in April, mind you, and their entire team putting up numbers week after week after week. I know there was some hesitations and questions as to, will they be able to have this translate throughout the entire season? And they're starting to show that this is real. This is legit. And I can only imagine what these times are going to look like at the NCAA championship when they're going to be, cranking things out on all cylinders. They have their new coach. Obviously, they lost Joanna Hayes to UCLA. They now have Coach JB that's out there at USC, and it's really showing to work. And the craziest part is that 5 out of those 6 athletes are underclassmen and have the ability to be coming back next year, which makes it even more insane. And the craziest part is they still have one other sprinter who hasn't even gone yet that, when healthy, we know how dominant he is, and that's Makai Williams. Makai Williams transferred to USC. He's still listed on the roster, and we haven't seen him run. We know he's gone into some sort of injuries in the past, but we know how dominant that man can be. And so just think about how crazy that is. You have 6 of the best sprinters in the entire country, and you still haven't even seen your former national champion and your Olympian hit the track yet. That's scary. If I'm literally any other school in the country right now, I would be frightened as to what USC has the ability to do, what that 4x1 is going to be. Obviously, the 4x1 national record is on watch. Like, that can easily be going down. And just to see the dominance from this team, I mean, obviously they have to be the best or the favorites for this national championship when you have the ability to almost have an entire final for an NCAA championship be in USC red and gold. That is how you know that you're completely dominating. And it's a team effort, and this type of, I guess, performance is what's going to help them grow, develop, and with their off the track sides of things, because it's a track's a mental game. And when you see your teammates being successful, I'm sure their practices are obviously going really great. We saw some videos of 4x1 handoffs from practices that they've had recently, and that type of energy, that fun, loving excitement is what's going to help take this team to the next level, not only from a sprinting perspective, but across the entire field, because they still have some other dominant performers in other events as well. I mean, Johnny Brackens, that is performing in the hurdles, obviously is a top performer. You also have JC Stevens, who is a long jumper as well. So they've got a lot of talent over there on that team. And I'll be honest, this isn't something that I was really expecting. But if you go back and take a look in recent memory of all of the fantastic sprinters that have came out of USC, I mean, it might be time to reallocate the Sprint University moniker to USC. I mean, you go back, you have Michael Norman, you have Rye Benjamin, you have a ton of just incredible athletes that have came through that USC team. Most recently, Johnny Blockberger, who has recently come through USC. So they're at a level that I don't think that I quite realized of how dominant they have been up until like when they put this performance together. So very impressive for them, especially this early on. I know it can be easy to. Oh yeah, Devonta Burnett was another name I was trying to go through and think of. So just in recent memory, a lot of really incredible top performers of what they're doing over there in Southern California, and makes me wonder, hey, can we see this national record potentially go down? Because when you have this many people all in the same training group that are at an elite level, you're bound to see one of these crazy times pop off. Now, yes, unfortunately, all of these times, except for Taylor's, have been wind aided, 2.4, so just a little bit over the legal limit there, but still incredibly impressive to be doing here in April. And so they've got plenty of track meets to come, plenty of opportunities to get better, to improve, and that was definitely the standout performance, excuse me, for me over the course of this first weekend, this weekend that we had. So looking forward to seeing what USC is going to be able to do, and if they're able to continue this into the off season, because nobody has the depth that they have really on the sprints. Like we said, 6 in the top 20, and then the next best is 3. Most schools only having 1. That is insane. It is incredible, and looking forward to seeing what they are able to put together for this 4x1 and how that is going to be coming to fruition. So impressive there on the college front. We'll stick with performances here as well that have been just incredible and really impressive. And we're going to go on over to Australia. So Gout Gout is continuing his meteoric rise as just a 17-year-old sprinter that is dropping insane times now this early in the season. So he runs 9.99 twice at the U20 championship this past weekend for Australia. Now, the first one was plus 3.5, and then the next one was plus 2.6. But going under that 10-second barrier for the first time. And then he runs it back at the regular Australian championship in the 200, where he runs a 19.84, which was a plus 2.2 wind, and is the fastest time in the world right now under any conditions. Now, there are some things that you have to obviously know, that the Australian timeline is a little bit different than what it is for other, I guess, countries because of where they are in the, being in the Southern Hemisphere. So their championships are in April, when most championships are going to be usually somewhere in that July, maybe August. No, yeah, I think they're all in July now, time frame, just because of, the way that the weather kind of works out for being down there. And I mean, this is like, he's got the ability to really transcend this sport. I know a lot of people throwing around the, oh, is he going to be the next Usain Bolt? Is he going to be the next this? Is he going to be the next that? Well, I don't know if he's going to be the next Usain Bolt. What I can say is that his marketability and the excitement around this kid is incredible. I mean, he's got over 124,000 followers on Instagram, and he's 17 years old. He's in that similar range when it comes to notoriety as the Quincy Wilson of the world right now. Now, I know the track world loves to hang on these young stars and obsess over the people that have performed really well at a young age. And so I'll be interested to see how this continues, because we've seen multiple people, many a times, that have had the hype, the excitement, the notoriety behind their name when they're 16, 17 years old, that are only thrown to the side as they become senior level athletes, and they are forgotten in the wind. And we have a lot of athletes right now. This is kind of a new renaissance of track and field, where there are all of these people that are, 15, 16, 17 years old, even younger, that are dropping times that we have never seen before. Like 19.84 at 17 years old. That's crazy, man. Like that doesn't happen. Oh, he's a professional. He's this, that. Yes, yeah, you're right. He's technically a professional athlete, and he's 17 years old and he's doing this stuff. Yes, you're right. But that doesn't mean it's not impressive. Just because he's a pro, and he does not take away from the fact that, yes, he's a professional at 17. Like, it's still incredibly impressive for him to do. We didn't take away from LeBron when he was 18, 17 years old, competing in the NBA his rookie year. Be like, oh, like, it's not as impressive because he's a professional. No, it's still impressive, like the numbers that they're doing at that young age, because you don't have that much experience as other people. And so, like, he's one of my favorite people to watch. I mean, he's exciting. He's got a good personality. He talks. He doesn't, like, I guess, talk trash, but he makes those interviews ones to look out for, and people love watching him. I think it's a fun story. And I mean, 9.99, run it back with a 19.84 in April. I'm curious to see what it's going to look like moving forward here, because their seasons are pretty flipped. And so what's the next couple months going to be? Because right now he's kind of peaking, for that championship, because they have the different schedule, as I mentioned. And so, there we'll probably see some downtime in May, where it's not as much, and maybe even through the beginning of June, and then starting to kick things back up as they get ready for the World Championships and all of that, as you may know. So I'll be curious to see where he's going to be through the rest of the season. But I mean, Gout Gout is just incredible. I like seeing him compete, and a lot of people all over social media and on Twitter and all of that, of like, oh man, like, you're hyping up windy times, you're hyping up these people. It's like, it's still impressive. Like, whether, like, is it just as impressive as some, when it's a non-windy time? Like, no, I guess not. But it's like, you still had to go out there and do it. You still had to go out there and run 9.99, and other, like, it's just as windy for other people that are in that race, and they didn't do it. So it's like, who am I to take it away? It's also not taken away from other people that have done the same thing. I know, we saw some high schoolers that were running these crazy times earlier as well. So it's not taken away from anything that anyone else has done. It's just like, this level of sprinting we haven't seen before, especially with a guy that has a lot of talent and has a lot of promise, in the game. And we love to always put is this the next Usain Bolt, just like every other sport likes to say, hey, is this the next Michael Jordan? Is this the next LeBron James? Is this the next whatever? Everyone does it. This happens all the time. And so it's nothing new. And I'm sure that he's probably used to hearing these sorts of things, but I'll be looking forward to what he ends up doing there. So shout out Gout Gout. Excellent performances. Excuse me. Then I guess we'll have a few other topics and things. So this is really quick, but we saw Shelly Ann Fraser Pryce obviously announced that this is going to be her final season, similar with Dalia Muhammad, who announced this will be her final season 2025 earlier on in this year. And so it's she's just had an incredible career that you can say. I mean, she's 37, 38 years old. And, the fact that she's still able to do this at such a high level is impressive. I know obviously last year didn't go as she wanted. There was a lot of injuries that she had, and I wouldn't have been too surprised if her season was what she had thought it would be, if she ended up getting the Olympic gold medal, if she ended up going like, yeah, you know what, this is going to be my last season. I wouldn't be too surprised if that would have been the case there. But here we go. Last hurrah for Shelly Ann Fraser Pryce, just in one of, if not the most dominant women sprinters in the history of track and field. Just every single time she was touching the track, it is a show and something that you have to look out for. She's definitely been one of the carriers of the Jamaican women's sprinting game for a while now. Dating back to her very first Olympic gold medal. When she was 20 years old. Such a long time ago. It's incredible, and it's going to be sad to see her leave, but she's done so much for the sport. She's done so much for track and field within and outside of Jamaica that it's nice to be able to know that this is going to be the last season, so we can enjoy every time that she's stepping on the track, rather than announcing a retirement afterwards and you don't really know if this is the last season. So gonna be missed, but definitely an exciting woman to see finishing up her career here, as she hopefully in her mind wraps up with a gold medal. So they'll be looking forward to that. And then last thing that I wanted to talk about before we wrap up is we talked a lot about Grand Slam track yesterday or last week, and it's something that has taken the world by storm. A lot of people have watched it, tuned in, and seen how this how everything is unfolded. And we saw an interesting individual that decided to chime in on their thoughts on Grand Slam track. So Patrick Magyar, who is the founder of the Diamond League, chimed in with his opinions on how Grand Slam track has been going. And he coined it Grand Flop Track, and that the Grand Slam track meet actually was a massive failure. Even though it had all of this hype and all of this excitement, it was quote unquote boring, lifeless, with long stretches of inactivity, and perhaps most telling, an empty stadium in Kingston, the capital of one of the world's greatest track and field nations. And so, like we said, he's the former founder of what I believe the Zurich, Diamond League, and he got all of this back in 2010. He doesn't have any association on paper with any Diamond League right now, but he definitely wanted to voice his opinions. He goes on to say a few other times throughout this article, which he posted on LinkedIn, if you want to go and take a look at it. Quote, "You can't eliminate half the sport just to fit someone's narrow idea of what sells." And so he's gone through and definitely voices disdain for what the meat is in Grand Slam track. He's also definitely not been historically extraordinarily happy with Michael Johnson to begin with. They seem to have had a lot of kind of beef and just not really seeing eye to eye, it seems like, which is dated back for what looks like a little while now. And here's my take on it. I don't think what Grand Slam track is doing fits into what the Diamond League is doing. And Michael Johnson and Grand Slam track is taking a very different direction as to where they want to go. And so it's like, yes, they eliminated a lot of the events that track and field currently has, including my event. Like, keep in mind, I am a field eventer. I am a pole vaulter at heart, and that is what I ended up doing. And what my favorite event is still. Like, even though I love talking about the 100, love talking about the 200 and the sprinting events, like those are things that I enjoy. The pole vault is still my favorite event, like it by far. Like that is what I like to do. So when people are claiming, oh man, like you don't know anything about the field, like that's what, like I literally went to college for field events. That's what I did. And so, like I've said in the past, track doesn't need field to be successful, and field doesn't need track to be successful. They can work together, or they can work separately and be able to be extraordinarily successful in their own rights. Like to keep the flow of a track meet, I don't think jumping to the field events makes it the best experience. And to keep a pole vaulting competition or a long jump competition or a high jump competition, throws, whatever it is, have it be focused around those things. Because the people that go to a track and field meet, you're not going to have the same person that likes to watch the men's and the women's discus are not the same people that want to watch the steeplechase, which are not the same people that want to watch the men's 100. They're different people. It's not the same. Like if you go to a football game, like you don't have, hey, you have American football that's playing in the first half, then we have soccer, English football is playing in the second half, or we're going to have baseball that's going to play the first 6 innings, then the last 3 innings we're going to have cricket that's going to be played. Like these are different things. Like they're not the same. And the fact that we keep acting as if they are because they're competed in the same area is just ridiculous to me. And if you're trying to professionalize some sort of track event, and make it its own thing. I know that Ryan Krauser is coming out with his own kind of shot put segment and shot put league that's going to be debuting at the Drake Relays that's coming up here. And that's the stuff that I'd like to see, and where you should be taking this sort of thing. We've seen Mondo Duplantis have his own pole vaulting meet that does extraordinarily well. It's we don't need to have everyone to be included in something for it to make a lot of sense, because then you see how those payouts and how things work. So it's like, oh yeah, you're paying the winners more money, but you're eliminating half the events. Yeah, it's just like if you have the same amount of prize money, it's like, let's say if you want to utilize $6 million to your best ability, should you give 6 million people $1, or should you give two people $3 million, or how should you spread that out so that you utilize your money? Like if you want to waste $6 million, give 6 million people $1. You just wasted all that money, because it's not going to improve anyone's life dramatically. And so it's if you want to utilize that money, don't have it be spread too thin, and use it for the events and for the things that people are tuning into the most. And I don't think that you need to have everything together to make it a cohesive, exciting product. And so to say it's a flop is just ridiculous to me. I mean, it had the most amount of hype going into it. Everyone is tuning in. And the only reason that people will criticize you publicly is if you're doing something right. Nothing is worth criticizing publicly if it's not great at all and nobody cared and they're not threatened by what you're going to do. I haven't seen it. Like there's tons of things that I see in my comments, or we'll see in captions, or people messaging myself. I just don't comment on, because it's not it's not important to myself. And this is what everyone does. Like if you were to comment on every single last thing that wasn't important to you, or you didn't think was an actual threat, then people would think that, oh no, this is actually important because you keep mentioning this. The fact that you take out a whole article that you write about how this was a complete flop just shows how big of a threat the Diamond League potentially views Grand Slam track to be. And it's interesting to me that they're going through and doing that. Now, obviously, he's not completely associated with it, but still different. And yeah, there are things that Grand Slam track does, or sorry, that the Diamond League does significantly better as of right now than Grand Slam does. Like their attendance is incredible. Like they have 50,000 tickets that have been sold out for some of the initial Diamond League events over in Europe. I believe it was the London one that's already over 50,000. I even went back to their very first competition in Doha in 2010, and they still had fairly good attendance for their first ever competition. Excuse me. So like that's something that they've done well. Have pretty strong attendance for a lot of these meets. And so yeah, you got to give them their credit there. Like they do have strong attendance, but to claim that it was a flop like just isn't correct. Like I think also from a content creator's perspective, like they're allowing like content creators like myself to stream and broadcast these competitions on YouTube for fans to be able to watch for free, something that is unheard of in the track and field world. They're definitely a lot more content creator conscious. They're creating something that is it has the potential to grow and develop and be really impressive. And if we're thinking that something is boring and lifeless, which I saw the broadcast, maybe we're watching two different broadcasts, but it didn't seem boring and lifeless to me. And because of the first ever one, I just don't agree with that. Yes, were the stands empty for the very first day? Yes, like the stands were empty for the first day. They started getting better the second day and the third day, but they were still empty. I think this goes to, Michael Johnson requested for some, feedback on what could be better. And I think they need to have a dedicated sales team. That's what I do for my regular job. And they need to have people calling and selling experiences and selling tickets rather than just posting links online or sending out emails to their databases. Like you got to have people calling and selling groups and experiences and suites to these meets. And it doesn't seem like that's what they're doing. I mean, I haven't received a phone call, and I would be in the perfect demographic to for someone to call me to buy some sort of ticket. So I'm guessing that this isn't currently happening, and that's an area where they should probably look into investing to help get more people there. But they definitely had a lot of individuals that were tuning in online and via TV. I'd love to get those numbers of how many people, ended up watching those streams and watching their broadcast, because it seemed like it was pretty impressive to me, and the way that they could, they expanded everything. So overall, not a flop. I think it was good. It was a great meet, and looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in Miami. We did, on that note, have the very first challengers that were announced for the Miami Slam. So we had Andre DeGrasse, who's going to be doing in the short sprints. We had Anna Hall, who's going to be doing the long hurdles. Amber Anning competing in the long sprints. Kenny Harrison, that's going to be competing in the short hurdles. Timothy Chariot is competing in the short distance. And then Claudia Hollingsworth, who's going to be competing in short distance as well. So first 6 athletes that have been announced. I'm excited to see what are going to be the new challengers that are going to be coming through. One reason, they're competing in Miami, and a lot of the big time track and field athletes work or are trained in Florida, especially that Orlando area, which is about 3 hours away. And so it's a lot easier of a travel, schedule for them. So I'm hoping that means that we're going to see a lot more challengers and big name sprinters come out of here, because they saw the success, they saw the hype from that Kingston meet. And then now, hey, it's right in your backyard. It's in Miami. It's not like you have to fly all these other places and do these things. It's really close. And I'm hoping that it means we're going to get a lot more people coming through. So awesome. That's going to be it for our episode of the Track World News podcast. We have an exciting one coming up next week. Hopefully we'll have a guest or two that's going to be joining us in a few upcoming episodes here. But that's going to do it from us here. Thanks. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Have a good one. Peace.